should we move on to the stack of gaming news we have this week?
We have so much gaming news.
I think the only thing we can lead with is God of War Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok launching finally. Well, I'm not going to say finally. I mean, we finally got a release date for it after lots and lots of waiting and lots of really shitty people harassing devs at Sony Santa Monica. Don't be like that.
Yeah.
But it is coming to PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 on November 9th.
Nice.
And I think at this point, I don't see that shifting. Maybe, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
We've seen release dates announced. I think it was The Last of Us 2 Part 2 had a release date, and then literally a month later it was delayed. So it's not impossible.
It's not guaranteed.
But I don't see it happening. Yeah.
What's so interesting, so with this announcement, they dropped a quick 30-second trailer, which is 99% cinematics. But it's so funny because this has obviously not been confirmed, nor do I think it's the case, but it almost makes it feel like this is a co-op game.
Yeah, it seems far more like focused on that.
Because it's like both Kratos and Atreus talking, and then the gist of it is like, we better together sort of thing. And then it ends with the shot. If you're watching the video version, it's just Kratos and Atreus just looking menacingly. I'm like, damn, this game could have co-op.
That would be, I mean, I don't think it will. It would be rad.
That would be such a surprise if it, just before the game launches, like, oh yeah, you can play as Kratos or Atreus.
You can play as Atreus like completely independently. Yeah.
I would not be surprised if in this instance, not at launch, but at a later stage, is like a horde mode or something, maybe with a playable Atreus. Perhaps.
Okay. That'd be cool. I'd be into that. But yeah, we got it was a CG trailer. Very, very flashy. Got to see that big wolf. I think his name's Fear at the end.
Fenrir, I think.
Fenrir. Yeah, this game looks. I mean, again, you brought up earlier in the week when we were chatting about this, something that I think a lot of people have been thinking about, like, will it hit in the same way that the 2018 game did? And I think that's the big question mark, because like the reboot obviously is a reboot, so it feels fresh. It's completely new. We have no idea what the sort of Kratos and Atreus are, and a big part of that game was, to me at least, Kratos like addressing his past and combining that with this future. You don't have those emotional beats to hit in the sequel.
Yeah.
So will it hit in the same way? So that's the big question mark to me. But I'm still like fully into the idea of playing this. So yeah.
So I just lost the page. it just closed.
Just decided to escape from you there.
So weird. But yeah, sorry, to echo what you said, I completely agree. I think it will be a good game. Oh my god, what is going on with my PC? Why is this not closing now? I just don't know if it'll hit the same way it did in 2018. 2017, 2018.
No, 2018.
The 2018.
Yeah. It's been 4 years since that game. That's crazy.
Why do I think it's 2017? God of War.
No.
Yeah, it is 2018 because Breath of the Wild was 2017.
I think it was March 2018.
No, you're right. It's 2018, yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Cool. Excited for that, though. November's not
very excited,
too far, so...
It isn't. So that's a good, 1, 2, 3, 4 months away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, because it's the 9th today, so yeah.
Cool.
What
else?
I guess let's just stick with release dates. Forspoken, the isekai, fish out of water, new action RPG from, is it Luminous Studios within Square Enix?
I don't know.
Well, that game, it's been delayed. It was going to come out, I think, in November.
It was end of October. It's like a week or two. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I speak rubbish. October 11th.
Yeah, October 11th. It initially was meant to launch in May of this year. So Yeah, we're approaching almost like a full year on delay.
Mm.
But it is now coming out on January 24th. Again, this just shows that, you know, uh, just because a game has a release date announced, it can
Yeah.
be delayed multiple times.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I still don't have really much.
This is,
Yeah,
yeah.
this game just looks strange to me. Like,
Mm.
I think it looks pretty spectacular,
Yeah.
but like I think it was Darren who said in Discord, he's like, it looks like a tech demo. Like,
Yeah.
it
It'll be
moves and looks
it'll be
like a tech demo.
flashy and all of that, but yeah.
Yeah,
I know this is not at all why it happened, but it was hilarious that God of War got a release date. Then quite literally within the hour, Forspoken are
yeah,
like, "Now, fam, we're coming out next year."
yeah. Screw
which
this. Even though
which
we're
did
a month
yeah,
before, we're
which
not
did
dealing
make.
with
I
that.
initially thought like, oh, were they coming out in November? And then I was like, no, they're coming out in October. It was just funny. The timing made it look like, oh shit, don't,
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
release anywhere near to God of War. Which is funny because do you have anything else to say on Project 8 here?
No, I think it's.
So
I'd be happy if it comes out and it's great.
oh look,
That's
I
always
never want a game to come out and go, yeah, I told you it was bad. I always hope
yeah,
that a game that I'm sort of lukewarm on comes out and it's great. I'm like, oh shit, okay, I completely misunderstood this game, or I
mm,
whatever. Okay, but Forspoken, a month before God of War, go, no, that's too close. Skull and Bones come out here with the
yeah,
new gameplay overview and the release date of it's like November 8th, day before
yeah.
God
It's
of War.
literally the day before God of War. Yeah, I mean,
Look,
to be fair, they had this thing lined up
I know,
without knowing the
I
God of
know.
War date. So I feel kind of bad, but
It's yeah,
and
but it is funny where
it's an entirely different game.
yeah, I
So
completely acknowledge different game, different audiences, all of that. But you have to think there's a PR team or a communications team going, oh my god, like we
fuck.
going to lose out to
Yeah,
all the headlines
just
that week because people are going to be
yeah.
talking about God of War. Like, sorry, it's the bigger game. All that
And
said,
especially so, yeah, I don't know about this still. Hey,
look.
like,
So if you don't know what Skull and Bones is, this game was first revealed at E3. I think it was 5 years ago. I looked it up. It was
or is more.
2017 or 20. Oh, is
Yeah,
it before that? It was
yeah. It was like
okay. So it
I
was
played it at E3 2018.
sure. Okay, so that you played an actual build of it, and then the game
Yeah,
quietly disappeared. And we know that it
for
was
a
getting like
very
a
long
reboot
time.
or something, and we got a new gameplay overview trailer finally to give us some insight. And look, I think the game is going to have an audience, without a doubt. Like there are the good mechanics there of you start off with a small boat and you get a crew together. You got to stock up on supplies before you go out, and then when you're out, you can choose to ransack mercenary ships for their loot, but you got to be careful because there are bigger ships defending them. And like, there's a loop there, right? It's like, you're going to get bigger ships and there's different kinds of ships and all of that. But man, I don't know. This is one of those games where I feel you have to play it to know whether it's good or bad
To
because,
me, this almost feels like this being sent out to die a little bit because
yeah,
I think it was last week there was reports that this game like has to come out within this financial year because of agreements with like the government in France or something like that.
really.
Um, so there's like literally no more road for this thing to take up. So I don't
Well,
know, man. It definitely looks more expanded than the
it does,
idea that
yeah.
was originally pitched, which was just like online ship battling.
Mm,
And this looks more like a survival game, but it's still
yeah.
like very limited off boat
Yeah, I think,
uh, gameplay. Like you're not boarding other people's boats and having fights.
no.
It's more like a cinematic thing.
And the only thing you can walk around, I think, are the actual hubs at ports.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird because at the back of my mind, I think, okay, initially you can't walk around an island because they're not going to sit and code like a whole, set of
Mm.
animations for walking. But I'm like, but you can walk around a port, and then
I mean, did you see how janky that looked where they were like shooting a coconut tree with a
yeah.
cannon
So, but that's what I'm getting
and
to.
the coconuts are just coming out?
So
Like it looks
there's now, if you see an island with the coconut tree or you know, or
like a resource that
you
you need.
don't
Yeah.
get off your boat and go hit it with a pickaxe or climb the tree to get the coconuts. You park your ship next to the island, and there's this weird animation that shows you mining it.
And
Which
then they're like
maybe,
fucking coconut tree just
yeah,
shakes.
which look, maybe we nitpicking, but it just feels like this game's being labeled like, the ultimate pirate simulator. I'm like, well,
Mm.
I feel like the ultimate pirate simulator would let me walk around on an island and board other ships. Like, I don't know, another game called Sea of Thieves. That's,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Exactly.
That's just
It
me.
just looks weird to me. Yeah, I mean, and I mean, it's pitched definitely as like they were making a big deal about like you can play this game alone, but it's definitely geared towards more social play,
Yeah.
and I can see that, and that also really doesn't entice me. I just don't. Yeah, there's not much that this game is doing for me, but at the same time, a lot of people said the same for Sea of Thieves when it was first shown
Yeah.
off and when it launched, and that thing has really just grown and grown and grown.
It's huge now.
And when
Well,
you look at some of Ubisoft's post-launch support for
I
its
was
games
I
like
was just
For
gonna
Honor
say,
and stuff,
yeah, I mean,
maybe this thing hits. Yeah,
Rainbow Six Siege is a very good
Rainbow
example
Siege,
as
yeah,
well, where I think that launch was received like very lukewarm, like yeah, it's
quite
okay,
early. Yeah,
and now it's like one of their biggest titles. Like they've got season
exactly. Yeah,
after season, new
they're pretty good.
characters.
They're pretty good at their
Yeah.
post-launch.
So I mean, and like, remember, Sea of Thieves also, I think it reviewed okay, but people play the game and like, there's not much to do. Like, it's
Yeah, it
three
was
kinds
very
of
sparse at
quests,
launch.
and
Yeah,
I mean, it took them a while to sit and patch
yeah.
in. So like, maybe at a later stage, Ubisoft, when this
Mm.
game's got some room to breathe, it's out. The devs can focus on just expanding the experience. Maybe they do go, oh, hey, here's the the island walk update. You can now walk around islands. Here's the resource mining update. You can actually go off and like hit a damn rock and get resources now. Like, because I
Yeah.
mean, the foundations here, right? I mean, the game does look visually quite pretty. I think it looks pretty cool. Yeah, I don't see them not being able to add that sort of thing in the year or two or whatever. But again, a game doesn't really appeal to me personally, but I do think it's one of those things where you kind of have to play it to really feel like, oh, this really works for me, or I don't actually enjoy steering a ship. It's cumbersome and doesn't excite me at all. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Will see.
Out November 8th.
Yep.
I think it's only on
Pre-God of
current gen
War.
consoles and PC. I don't think it's coming to older consoles anymore.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
probably a good move.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so that's all the release dates. Although let's just touch on this one quickly because this is also, I think this was kind of rumored, but it's official now. Lollipop Chainsaw remake is coming, reportedly without Suda 51 or James Gunn. I had no idea
Yeah,
that.
the publisher bought back the rights to the franchise, and they were like immediately like, yeah, we're gonna do something with this.
I had no idea James Gunn was linked to this at all.
Yeah, I actually only found that out pretty recently. I think when I played the game in 2012, I had no idea. But then in 2012, I had no idea who James Gunn was anyway. I think only, like most people, found out who he was after the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But Suda51, who's the game's creative director, and James Gunn said they're both not involved with this remake. This remake. Oh, so in addition, the original
so
voice
just saw that.
actor for the leading protagonist, Juliet Tara Strong, who I mean is everywhere. She's Harley Quinn in the Batman games. She's Bubbles in Powerpuff Girls, like one of the most prolific voice actresses in the business. She's also not involved. So they could probably use the original VO. Like, yeah, I don't know. There's some weird things about this remake. It's like they're like, oh, we're gonna push for a more realistic art style. I'm like, that's kind of the opposite of what we should be doing.
I mean, this is from the original, right? It's like very,
yeah.
It's almost like
I mean,
it's
super flashy. It's like a lot of the game is based on these like ridiculous looking effects and stuff like that. So we'll see. The game was received very lukewarmly when it launched, borderline negatively. I thought it was fun, if a bit like childish at times, because it is like it's a cheerleader with a chainsaw fighting people, fighting zombies. Like, come on. Yeah,
super serious.
So I'll still play it because I think that game is cool.
Yeah. Cool.
But with all the original people not involved, we'll see how
Yeah, I
disastrous this
actually.
remake is.
Um, cool. Okay, now we can sit and nitpick. Should we talk about Crisis Core,
Sure.
which
Uh,
is coming
so
out
yeah, there's
sometime
been a
soon
bunch of
ish?
interviews for Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, which is the remaster of the PSP exclusive Crisis Core.
Not confusing at
Uh,
all. It's
Not at all.
very
No, super
straightforward
not at
stuff.
all.
Yeah.
So a bunch of interviews with a bunch of outlets, but two of the main things I think that they most like struck on were some of the changes the game is making to combat,
Mm.
which at first I was a bit apprehensive about, but reading about the changes, they seem to be fine. So firstly, your attacks as a Zack are going to be more combo-like as opposed to just like single attacks with a single button. So I think it will just flow a bit better.
Mm.
Probably taking a lot of inspiration from Remake 7 in that regard.
Mm.
Um, the other one is that you can store potions and magic in assignable buttons, like hot swap buttons, so you can
Mm.
access them a bit easier. And then I think the biggest one is the game's what's it, DWM system
I,
or DMW system? The little lottery,
yeah.
the little like slot machine numbers that are in the top left. So previously those, depending on the characters that you've met in the game, your connection to them, it would kind of like randomly determine whether you could use summons or limit breaks based
Mm.
on your affinity with those characters. It tied in quite nicely with like the story. So like if at any point in the story your connection with Aerith was really strong, she would pop
Mm.
up there
More,
quite
yeah. Of
frequently. So it's called the digital mind wave feature. That's what it's called. So now
course.
so now that's still there, thankfully, but you can now sort of like bank limit breaks and summons and use them when you need them to, as opposed to only using them when they
Mm.
appear there, which I think is a cool change as well.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm glad they didn't get rid of it because I think that is central to how this game functions
Mm.
and hits certain story beats super well because like it will contextualize some of Zach's thoughts in battle through
Yeah.
that system. It's
It's
very,
very
very
clever,
smartly
yeah.
done. Yeah. So if
Also,
they got rid of that, that would have
yeah,
sucked.
also a
Yeah.
godsend in some cases, like I'm about to die, and then you like roll an Aerith thing and she heals you, like, oh thank God.
I'm pretty sure that's there for a reason. It's like
Yeah.
it's very deliberately like done like cool. If you're at minus, 20% health,
There's a
your
better
odds of rolling
chance,
errors are
yeah.
much higher, just so it
Mm.
feels good when it happens.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good time.
The other big thing in the interviews is that they said they are not changing the game's story,
Yeah.
which I
A
think a
lot
lot
of
of
people
people were
speculated,
speculating
yeah.
that this was going to be like a remake deal, that the story would be changed to kind of line up with the events that are now happening in remake.
Mm.
Which, if you haven't played, there are some big implications that take into
This
account
is
Zach and his future. So
it's
yeah.
gonna confuse a whole lot of fans who have
I think
no
this actually makes it far more confusing
yeah, who
because, like,
so those who have never played Crisis Core nor the original Final Fantasy VII are going to go in going, oh, okay, there's this game based on the dude who saw the end of 7 remake and he walks
mhm.
towards Midgar. They're going to be real surprised when he dies at the end of this game.
And it's like, wait a minute,
Uh,
wasn't and then when what's the new remake one called?
Rebirth. Requiem.
Rebirth, yeah. Rebirth comes back and Zack is alive.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to
what the fuck
super
are they
confuse
gonna do
people.
then? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Cool.
Interesting. Wow. Probably
Um,
should have prefaced that with spoilers, but it's been a while.
it's been a while.
But especially for Crisis Core, like, come on.
I mean,
Again,
at this
almost 20
stage,
years now at
Crisis
this
Core and Final
stage.
Fantasy
Yeah.
VII have been out for actual decades now. So,
Mm.
um, speaking of, yeah, what do you want to bounce to?
Should we talk quickly about Red Dead Redemption and the lack
Yes.
thereof there for a while?
Cool.
So Red Dead Redemption, or Red Dead Online, the online component of Red Dead Redemption 2, is kind of being sunsetted. Like, Rockstar came out to kind of address fans, basically saying that they were holding a funeral for the game because there'd been no like major updates for the past year. And they kind of confirmed that, yes. So it actually says here, over the past few years, we've been steadily moving more development resources towards the next entry in the Grand Theft Auto series, understanding more than ever the need to exceed players' expectations for this next entry to be the best it can possibly be. As a result, we are in the process of making some changes to how we support Red Dead Online, which basically means major themed content updates will not be coming out.
Mm.
So it will be small updates, like probably just like keeping it alive type of thing. But like,
Yeah.
I think this is the sunsetting of this online mode, which, to be fair, never really caught on in the way GTA
GTA
Online did.
Online
I'm
did.
not surprised that they're just moving on.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
think like them hitting GTA 6 and GTA Online out the gates, like hard, is the biggest focus for Rockstar right now. So that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Game is going to score hundreds from so many people and be entirely okay.
100%. I'm solely with you there because I've not enjoyed a GTA
Uh,
in the way that reviews suggest ever.
mm,
So,
best
yeah.
thing since sliced bread. Last few bits of news. I mean, should we talk about? Let's talk about E3. Bam.
Yeah. So, I mean, E3 is coming back in 2023, which wasn't a surprise, even though they skipped this year. They were adamant that they would be back next year.
Mm.
But it kind of seemed like even if they were, it wouldn't really matter. But now they're coming back with ReedPop behind them, which is, if you're unfamiliar, ReedPop is a big company. They actually own a bunch of game publications. I think Eurogame is actually owned by
No.
them, if I'm
Okay.
mistaken. But the big thing is that they are the organizers of events like PAX in the US. So they
Okay.
kind of understand consumer events. So
Sure.
if there was ever going to be a company that could understand how to bring E3 back in a way that made sense, this is the best shot yet.
Yeah.
So they do PAX, EGX, New York Comic Con, and Star Wars Celebration.
Sure.
So they do all the big
Yeah.
events.
Okay.
Yeah, I
That.
think the ESA can now depend on an expertise of people who know what the fuck they're doing. And this is for the first time. Like, I'm actually excited that E3 might
Yeah.
come back in a
Also,
full way.
also makes me think that I mean E3 in its last few years it had like a public facing component.
Mhm.
Makes me think with this company behind it that it will be a lot more of an emphasis potentially.
Definitely, and probably more like actually worthwhile because the past two E3s, the last two E3s I went to were both ones where they allowed the public in,
Mm.
and I actually felt bad for the public because like the event itself was never geared for them. So
Mm.
to me, it felt like they had just wasted their money to
To
sit
like
in,
go there, yeah.
yeah, to sit in lines and actually not it. Yeah, it didn't feel like it was meant for them.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I hope this actually helps them quite a bit,
Mm.
and balances it out. If it means that there is a day, like the very first day is just for press, and then the rest is
Public facing.
public facing, that'd be cool. If everyone goes in thinking of the event in that manner, then it can be geared properly
Mm.
in that manner. So yeah.
There we go. GameStop exec fired, more mass layoffs even as meme stock surges is the headline of this article.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, GameStop keeps being a weird company. They laid off a bunch of people, including some good people at Game Informer, which is a
mm,
publication they still own. But no one from their blockchain or that sort of division was laid off, and they keep pushing in that direction. So
yep,
yeah, I'm not sure what else the company is.
what's going on here?
Yeah, what's going on there, but yeah, seems like it's still really shit over there.
Yeah. And then last bit of news, sad news, Yu-Gi-Oh creator Kazuki Takahashi has died. that is, if you do not
Mm.
know, the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh, essentially, or the manga artist responsible for the creation of Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't actually know how he died. I know he was 60.
Yeah. I don't think I've actually read
Mm. Oh,
or if
hold.
that.
You know what it was. It is actually quite strange because it seems, if I recall, it was like a a diving accident, or like he was
Oh,
like
like
at
scuba diving.
sea, yeah, or something.
Oh, hectic.
Okay, but now, yeah, here we go. Takahashi was found floating while wearing snorkeling gear. His body
Oh,
was recovered by the Japanese Coast Guard. So it's like it wasn't a heart attack or cancer. It was some strange, like,
well, I mean, it could have been a heart attack.
oh, maybe,
Maybe he
yeah,
got
true.
stung by something
Yeah. But I thought that
underwater while
was quite, oh
snorkeling or
my
something.
God,
That's
this
hectic.
is written by Darren Bozo Hayes.
Darren Bone Thighs.
Bone
Damn.
thighs in the flesh. Yeah. Which are very sad.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
that is quite sad. Yeah, 60 is not old.
No,
And then on top of it, to die in like such weird,
such a
mysterious
strange circumstances.
circumstances.
Yeah.
That's shame, man.
Um,
That sucks.
yep.
Big sorry to him.
Yeah.
Heart of the cards.
Heart of the
Move on.
cards. And
I
that's
think
gaming
that's
news.
gaming news.